All right, so haven't posted. Maybe it's been a week or so. Not. It's been a while, but not too long. The end of the month, April, the end of every month is really rough, and I think I mentioned that previously. If I haven't, work is really rough at the end of the month. There's just a lot that has to be done, and as work is changing and evolving and working with the state and stuff like that, it is what it is, and I have to take one day at a time and just do the best I can. And that's kind of been my motto for the ever since I started this company back in 2024, June of 2024. Very proud to be a part of that company, but there's been so much change, and it's just the business we're in. That said, last night my wife went to a movie with her sisters and her mom. You know, not a big deal, right? However, our 4-year-old, who will be turning 5 on May 28th, decided to test good old dad. And that was a lesson for me because I learned last night that I'm not authoritative enough, I guess. I'm not even sure that's the right word. I accept my daughter as she is, but I guess I'm kind of a pushover. So when mom's not around, she thinks she can get to do what she wants. And there was a 3-hour, I would say discussion, but it was a 3-hour temper tantrum about getting a snack. And I realized the situation I put myself in, that it was not just about the snack, because it changed from candy to ice cream and then to a piece of cheese, and I just had to keep saying no. And again, I'm an older dad that doesn't know squat, so I would normally give in, but then I started to realize my relationship with my daughter has changed because she's getting older and she's gotten used to daddy giving in, which I'm not sure if that's the right way to put that, but I always lean towards her, I guess, where mom is more authoritative and better at being direct and well, mom's better at being a parent than I am. That's honest. Let's just be honest. I think about her and my son every day and worry about them constantly, and I work in the mental health industry, so I worry about their mental health, and maybe that's leaked into how I treat them. I hope not. It's a hard line to try to figure out, and I'm sorry, it's been a long week. I'm tired, but last night made this week even longer, even though today is May 1st, and it kind of lifted some weights. But that doesn't take away the fact that even though I'm an older dad that doesn't know squat, I need to be a good dad. And a good dad is fun. He does the wrestling rollovers and somersaults in the yard when we're all out there. Yay, that's dad. And dad jumps around and he runs across the street and he dances and he does all this stuff. But when it comes to bedtime, and my daughter throws a fit for 2.5 hours, that was last night. That made me start to think, maybe I should be doing something different. I'm new to all this. I have my son, who's a stepson. I met him when he was 9. He's gonna be 17 in a week. We bought him a car, and that relationship is getting way better and awesome. Easier now than when he was 9. Oh, I'll tell this story. So when he was 9, his mom and I just started dating, and she got an award for work, and she went to Miami, Florida. It was like 2 weeks after we started dating. So I'm not even sure if you can call that dating or not. And I came over to their house, and she bought these weird chocolate bugs. I think it was chocolate crickets that she found in Florida. And she tricked him into eating one. And at 9 years old, after we said, "Oh, you're eating a cricket," he started to cry. And because of that, I would never do this otherwise, but because he was crying and he was sad and exposed, I grabbed one out of the bag, and I just took a leap and threw that chocolate bug in my mouth and crunched down on it, and it made him laugh. It made my wife, my soon-to-be wife, or future wife, laugh. And it just kind of cleared the air. So that's what I tried to remember last night when I was dealing with my daughter throwing her fit. How can I relate to her? How can I get to her level? There's a story that I was told when I got into this human service industry back in, and it's not long. I'm going to be 50 in September. And I was in the insurance industry 18 years, 19 years. In 2020, the pandemic hit. And I'm sorry, this is probably a repeat of I probably posted this before. But in 2020, the pandemic hit, and I was working in insurance. I was a claims adjuster, which I hadn't been ever. I was a trainer at Nationwide, and I was customer service, all this other stuff. But in 2020, my wife and I got engaged in September of 2019, and March of 2020, after we paid all of this money for our big wedding on October 17th. October 17th, 2020, we were supposed to be our wedding. Pandemic hit in March. It's the middle of March. I'm going to say March 13th, but that might not be right. But it was middle of March. And we were sitting at a table, and we knew the world was going to change. And I had to go home to work. My wife had to go home to work, and I hated it. I hated it, and I realized I hated my job. So I went back to school, got my bachelor's degree in psychology, and during that time, realized I had a passion for helping people. And I actually had a very vivid thought of how can I help people that are homeless. And so that led to me wanting to open a nursing home. And so I went, after asking a bunch of questions, I went to get my master's degree in healthcare administration. I worked at a nursing home. I did not like that. So it led me down a different path to human services, to where I'm at now. And I was a certified brain injury specialist. I was an administrator, or I guess clinical coordinator is what they called it, for a group home for people that are recovering from traumatic brain injuries. And it was intensive rehab that I really enjoyed the work. I just got very passionate at this work. Anyway, the point being is my perspective on how to treat people and work with people got a little bit different, and I got a little more patient. So I had to remember that last night with my daughter, and I pulled myself back. And it hurt so much to let her just cry it out. I've never done that. Usually my wife's here, but again, she was rightfully at a movie with her mom and sisters and having a good time. Didn't bother her, didn't text her, didn't say, "Hey, come on up, I'm not struggling." I just went with it and did my best. And that length of time with my daughter where she was thrown a fit, and it was a long time, and it hurt me, and it was upsetting, it was frustrating, she was upset, and she cried through it all. But it reestablished our relationship, because I stopped realizing I can't just protect her and be super dad or dad with treats and things like that. I had to get to her level and help her understand that it was down to a snack. If she wanted anything, just to stay up, right? Um, she wanted a candy, then no candy. She wanted a sandwich, no sandwich. She wanted popcorn, no popcorn. Because Dad already said no a long time ago. She was supposed to take a shower, and Daddy had to pick her up and put her in a bed and say, no, we're going to do a shower in the morning. And then for the next, 45 minutes to an hour after I put her to bed, she cried out and she just wanted a piece of cheese. And I don't know about any of you, but for me, and again, I'm different. Again, I'm an older dad that doesn't know squat. But I'm also an older dad that's never had any other kids. Not that age. I didn't raise my son, my stepson. So I had to fight the urge. My wife was still enjoying the movie. I wasn't bothering her. But I had to fight the urge to just give her that piece of cheese because she was crying. I mean, real tears. And she's like, Daddy, Daddy. And then she realized Daddy wasn't going to give in. And yeah, that broke my heart. But I knew at that moment it was important. And then she started crying for Mom. Mommy, Mommy. So I had to go in there and say, hey, no, Mommy's not going to say anything different. Mommy's got another hour, 30 minutes, whatever it was. I want Mommy, I want Mommy. I said, Mommy will be home soon. And then all of a sudden, more tears. Oh my gosh. She was getting scared. She was getting scared that Mom's going to find out about what happened. Eventually, I finally got to her level, my daughter's level. And as almost a 50-year-old man and a nearly 5-year-old girl, that's not easy. And I got down there. And we were able to have an actual conversation where she agreed to calm down and take breaths and relax and stop asking for a snack. That was the big win. And she finally started to calm down. And then I found a fidget toy, like more of it was a game, but it was more of a fidget toy. And she finally calmed down. She didn't need a snack, but I could also tell when she would say, Daddy, Daddy, it wasn't screaming for Dad. It was more of anxious. She was worried about Mom coming home, I realized. And so I said to her, I said, I'm not going to tell Mom anything that happened. You came around, you did a good job. So I'm not going to say anything to Mom. That was a little bit of a fib, because I knew it would help her relax and get some sleep. So she started to fall asleep, and my wife came home, and I told my wife what had happened, but I also said, my daughter and I figured this out. We didn't have those boundaries before, and I figured out how to make those boundaries. And I had to tell my wife, I was like, but I had to tell her, I'm not going to tell you this, even though I'm telling you now. But you need to pretend like you don't know anything, because that makes her feel safe. So my wife, played along, and that's what happened. And it was fine. Everything was great. About 5 minutes after my wife came home, my daughter was completely passed out. Perfect. She got up this morning, and I had to get to work early. And she got up, and I was taking her to school. So she got up and there was no hesitation, no I'm tired and all this stuff. She went right and brushed her teeth, went potty, and ate breakfast. Eggs and sausage. She ate everything, which that is that doesn't happen. She's very finicky. And she was ready to go to school. We got to school. I got to work on time. And then I picked her up from school today, and she was still nervous. I could tell. So I had to say, hey, sweetie, we all have our bad days. Last night was a bad day, but today's a new day. Did you have fun today? Did you have a good time at school? Yeah, Daddy, I did. Well, then we're just fine. This could happen again, and maybe Daddy won't react the same as before. Maybe I'll get more mad than I was last night. I doubt it. Actually, I try not to get upset at all. Uh, I get frustrated, and it's visible. And I think that's where her fear came from, because she could see it in my face, but my voice didn't raise very much, and I didn't. Yeah, and of course I'm never gonna spank any. No, I got spanked when I was a kid, but that. Jeez, I'm almost 50, so that was a long time ago. I'm not doing that to my daughter. I'm not. It's not gonna be a thing. And she doesn't deserve it either. She's learning. She's 4, almost 5. So, and then tonight we got home and she just stuck by my side. When I picked her up, it was daddy, daddy, daddy. Until we got dinner. It's Friday night, so we got pizza, right? And that was pizza and pizza, pizza. She doesn't eat very much, so it's just one slice of pizza and then playing with mom, thankfully. But the whole point of this post and this conversation, again, these are all just for me anyway, but the whole point is it's not easy being an older dad that doesn't know squat. And that's the dad joke. But realistically, as a dad doesn't know shit, and I don't know much of anything other than how I feel and how I treat other people and how all that resonates with me. And I see her little face, and as she's growing, I see my wife's face, and as we grow old together, see my son's face and how he's getting bigger and older, and remembering how it was when I was his age. It's very similar, actually. I just have to keep telling myself, and I do this at work too. So if anybody from work is seeing this, just know this is my philosophy, and I hope this is yours too, because I have to do this at home. Take a deep breath. It's one moment at a time. It's one day at a time. Do the best you can with what's in front of you. Don't half-ass it. Don't slack off. But know you're doing your best, and your best is good enough. And don't be worried about what happens next. Be in the moment and do your best, and sleep easy knowing that you've done your best. The rest of it is out of your hands. And that's easy for me to say now, but it's taken me since I met my wife 7 years ago to get to that point. It wasn't just her teaching me that. It was some life lessons with her family, my family, and our church and stuff like that. But it's truly the only thing you can do. We can only control what's in our universe and only control what's in front of us at the moment. And I think that's the most important message I could send to anybody. And again, this post and this channel it's therapeutic for me, so I don't really care who watches it, likes it, looks at it, or whatever, because I'm just talking to myself anyway. What's most important is that I understand I'm doing the best I can, and I make a difference. So if anybody is seeing this, or listening to this, or even paying attention to it, know that as long as you do your best and try as hard as you can, you are making a difference, regardless of if you're working social work field, teachers, doctors, bankers, lawyers, gas station attendant, the clerks at stores, managers at grocery stores, Walmart. Your job matters, you matter, we all matter. Perception is not reality, and you're going to hear otherwise. Perception is what you make of it, and we all matter. It just depends on how we take it and present it. And I truly hope I can teach my kids how to do that and really take that in, because I did not understand that until I met their mom, which was going on 8 years now, 7, 8 years now. I always wanted more, better, and that doesn't matter. What matters is our take on life and how we treat each other and how we help and how we feel about our lives. That turned way more deep than I thought. So take care. Have a good night. Happy May 1st or May Day. And good night.